Good morning, everybody. I'm downstairs. We had a storm last night, which was like, it was a spring storm. We actually let kids out of school now in my area because there's going to be a spring rain. That's now where we're at. So obviously, I can tell that I'm getting older when I'm like, we're letting kids out of school an hour early because there's going to be a thunderstorm. Okay, sure, why not? So we're talking about money, and we're going to talk about money for the next couple of days. Thank you so much for all of your responses with regards to that. So, you got to talk about the psychology of money, and then you can talk about money systems. And just like we all do, and I'm just as much as guilty of this as everything, everything that I'm talking about are all lessons that I've needed to learn, over and over and over again. So a lot of times we jump ahead and we want to go to the system. We're great at doing that with regards to losing weight and getting in shape. I need a new system. No, first thing you need is you need a new psychology. So with regards to money, we've always got to look at the psychology first. Because here's the reality. And this is tough to say, but if you do not have financial abundance in your life, it's because of your psychology. It isn't because of your location. It isn't because of your education. It isn't because of your background. It isn't because of your gender, skin color, religion, none of that. Because time and time and time again, people have proven that those things are not impediments. An immigrant to the United States is 10 times more likely to become a millionaire than somebody born in the United States. Is that because of all the advantages that they have? They have no advantages in terms of education, can't even speak the language, connections, but they have one advantage that makes them successful: hunger. That's the difference. And they make it a must. So, rule number one with regards to money is you find a way to make whatever amount of money that you make a must in your life, you always find a way to do that. You find a way to pay your rent. You find a way to make sure that you have your cell phone taken care of. You find a way to pay those musts. And so, what you need to do is you've got to make financial freedom a must. And believe me, I heard Tony Robbins say this literally for years. And I thought to myself, I'm making it a must, and I'm still not creating the results. I wasn't making it a must. I wanted it. I wanted it badly, but it wasn't a must. When all of a sudden I got myself to a point, and the universe helped me out a lot with that in terms of leverage, when I got myself to a point where I have to create this result or it's a life or death. If I don't do this, it's catastrophic. And then what do you know? I created that result. When it becomes a must, then you figure out how to do it. So you have to start with that psychology. And one of the things is to stop playing defense. Grant Cardone is, if you want to get on the right vibe to create financial independence, I don't know if there's anybody better than that guy to show you where you got to vibrate at if you want to create that type of financial success. And by the way, for most of us, to get to financial freedom, which I'll define before the end of this video, most of us to get to financial freedom, we don't need to vibrate at that level. Grant Cardone vibrates at the level to make yourself a billionaire if that's what you want to do, if that's your goal. But if you just get a taste of where he vibrates, and he didn't start out there, okay? That's not where he was 30 years ago or even 10 years ago. But he can show you how to massively accelerate in terms of the vision, the desire, and where you got to vibrate at. And you notice like the energy of this video is significantly different than the energies of the videos talking about creating lasting change, talking about values and beliefs. When you're talking about money, it's a different energy. Even when we do, we'll do life mastery and wealth mastery back to back as seminars. Most of the time we do those seminars together. And life mastery is all about long-term health, relationships, how to feel centered, how to feel connected with other people in the universe and the world. So it's got a very, Zen kind of vibe as you go through it. It's very emotional. It's very deep. When we shift into wealth mastery, that's another thing. Imagine you're going to go play a football game. American football, pass ball. Imagine you're going to go play a football game. NCAA tournament is tonight. Imagine you're going to go play the NCAA tournament. Okay, if you go to a religious ceremony before that, you're going to be in a much different vibe in that religious ceremony than when you're in that locker room getting ready for that game. Okay, well, money is being in the locker room getting ready for the game. That's how you got to look at money. And Grant Cardone shows you what level to vibrate at to create those outcomes. But the biggest thing that he does is he shows you the psychology. He makes it a must. I will absolutely create this result no matter what. When you make it a must, now you're going to create those outcomes. Just the same with your health, with everything else, you got to make financial independence an absolute must. So why don't we? Well, because we've been given all kinds of conflicting viewpoints with regards to it. That people who are financially independent somehow did something wrong. That people who have significant sums of money somehow did things wrong in order to get it, or they're bad people, or they sacrificed their family, they overworked, they did this, they did this. Now, are some of those generalizations true? Sure. But there's all kinds of people who are not financially independent that can be pointed the finger at in terms of those same afflictions. You got to shift your psychology and look at what will I gain? First of all, what will it cost me if I don't create this financial independence? And then secondly, what will I gain when I do? How will that make me feel? What can I do for those around me? And I love Joseph McClendon III, and I've said this, and I'll say it and say it and say it. If you don't think money doesn't bring you happiness, then you haven't given enough away. When you have the ability to help others, it creates a whole new sense of accomplishment and meaning and connection, and I don't mean that you do it so that you can get accolades back. I mean, you do it in quiet, where you're able to go and say, hey, I'm going to go take care of this situation, and I don't even want the person that I did it for to know that I did it, just because you get that feeling of how great it is to help somebody out who really needs it and deserves it. When you start to get connected to those types of feelings, now you're going to start to be in a different place to make financial independence an absolute must. The ability to say yes to anything your kids want to do. Mom, Dad, I want to go to Disney. Absolutely. I want to stay at the Contemporary, and I want that place where the train goes right through the middle, and I want to go have the dinner and the cat. Yes, we can do all of those things. The ability to say yes and have those magic moments with your kids. The ability to have a parent whose health fails and be able to come in and financially take care of that situation without even having to think about it. Here's the care that you get as you transition to whatever the next phase of life is. The ability to be able to do that and not have to think about that and be able to be in just the moment. There's nothing that causes us more stress than money. Unless you lose your individual health, especially at a younger age, I think that's the only thing, losing a loved one at a younger age. But other than those significant life events that don't happen to everybody, nothing causes more stress than money. So get past the psychology. Take yourself through a mini Dickens process where you go, okay, if I don't get this handled now, and it doesn't matter how old you are, Colonel Sanders didn't start until he was 65, and that was back when 65 was basically life expectancy in the United States. It doesn't matter what your educational background is. I'm from a small town called Freeport, Illinois. It's 26,000 people. Well, who's the first African-American billionaire in the United States of America? His name is Bob Johnson. He started BET. Where did he go to high school? Freeport, Illinois. Graduated from the high school in my small town. He had no connections. He had no opportunities. He's an African-American man in the United States in the 1950s, and yet he becomes the first African-American billionaire. Does it before Oprah. So it isn't location. It isn't opportunity. Do those things help? Yes, they help. It's your psychology. So think about, where will I be in 10 years if I don't handle this situation? And really feel it. And then think about, where am I going to be in 10 years now that I am going to handle this situation? I am going to make financial independence an absolute must. And then tonight, because I'll talk more about this tomorrow, we'll talk systems tomorrow. But tonight, figure out, what does financial independence mean to you? And here's how we define it in the Tony world. We have financial independence, and then we actually have 5 stages, but we don't need to do 5. We have financial independence, and we have absolute financial freedom. Okay, but let's talk about financial independence. Financial independence is that your basic needs are met without you having to work. That you could go the rest of your life and your basic needs are met. So what is that? That's your rent or your mortgage, food, vehicle, basic utilities, including insurance, right? And then we'll include the cell phone and the basic utilities. So you're talking about mortgage, including real estate taxes and insurance or rent, whatever that means to you, vehicle, including insurance, food, and then all your utilities, okay? Those are your fundamental financial needs. Those are things that have to be done. Figure out what that number is. You're going to find that number is less than what you think, because most of us blow our money on excess crap outside of that. But figure out what that number is today, tonight, right now, right when we get done. And then the definition is, what type of vehicle can you create that pays that number every month without you having to do anything? Or maybe you have to work on it a couple of hours a month, maybe 10 tops a month, in order to have a vehicle that creates that outcome. So figure out what you need in order to have financial freedom. Now, not absolute financial freedom means you can do anything you want, whenever you want, wherever you want, and you don't have to worry about the money. That's absolute financial freedom. Okay, that's a different number. But let's just talk about financial freedom. Mortgage, car, insurance, taxes, basic utilities, food. Okay? What you've got to have in order to sustain. Figure out that number tomorrow, and if you want, post it. Feel free to post it after this video, because you're going to find that the numbers aren't that bad. That you look at your basic fundamental needs, you're like, that's not so bad. That number's not, that's attainable and sustainable. So figure out that number, and tomorrow when I come on, which will be in the morning, we will talk about systems. We will talk about systems to create a money machine to create that result for the rest of your life. All right? Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I'm going to say hi. We ended up with a lot of people. Valerie, great to see you. Heather, great to see you. I hope life is great. Julie, thank you so much. Patty, Mr. Dakin, my brother, awesome to see you. Jack, hey, thanks so much for popping on. Carla, great to see you. Jeff, Gavin Brown is watching. Hey, great to see you too, brother. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. I really, truly appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow with systems. Figure out your number. You're going to find it's not that bad. And finding a system to get yourself to financial independence is not that hard. And it's going to completely change how you look at your finances and the rest of your life in terms of all of that. This will relieve oodles of stress. Trust me. Thank you. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other.